Hello everyone! Summer is officially here and it's time for some cruising. Get the best shine you can out of your ride with a paint correction you can do yourself at home.
Say hello to the bad side. My emotion is flatline. Hungry demon, what I'm seeing is snack time. When I rush in the grab, I better run from the path line.
Before we start today's episode, I'd like to welcome all my subscribers back and also to say thank you. Your subs, comments, and all your views mean a lot. If it's your first time here and you enjoy what you see, like and subscribe because your support's important too. Alright, that's enough pumping your tires. Let's get this show started. Professional detailers are definitely the experts when it comes to restoring and maintaining the quality and finish of your vehicle's paint. The only downside is the price that goes with that expertise. Now, I am the first person to tell you that you usually get what you pay for, but there's also something rewarding about shining up your own vehicle and standing back to admire the results of all your hard work. By no extent of the imagination do I claim to be an expert on detailing, but you can get some really good results with some products found at your local auto parts store and a lot of elbow grease. The main bit of today's grunt work will be in the form of clay barring the car. It's not necessarily difficult work, but it can be tedious and somewhat time-consuming. It'll be followed up with a coat of protective wax to really bring out the shine. The garage is, well, a little full of motorcycle parts at the moment, so let's head outside and get started. Alright, since I can't get Miss Vicky in the garage right now, I've waited until there's some shade on the driveway. This is really important because you never want to do any work on your paint in direct sunlight. It'll cause things to dry too quickly, which can result in spreading dirt and grit around the paint, doing much more harm than good. Before we do anything to the surface, it has to be clean, so it's time for a bath. You can get some pretty cool toys like a foam cannon or other pressure washing attachments, but I just use some warm water in a bucket with some car wash soap and a clean wash pad. Now, washing a car isn't exactly rocket science. Start from the top of the vehicle and work your way down. If your car is really dirty, be sure to rinse the wash pad before it goes back in the bucket. Once freshly washed, the car may look clean, but is it really? It's very apparent on a white car, but if your car's paint feels rough, that means it's covered in contamination that gets picked up over time. Contamination like brake dust, iron particles, and road grime. Your vehicle's paint is made up of layers, and the top layer is what takes all the abuse the environment can dish out. If you drive your car, all that junk I mentioned is going to get lodged in your clear coat. Because this stuff gets embedded in the paint, washing alone isn't enough to remove it. This is where the clay bar comes in. As it passes over top, it latches onto that crap and pulls it out, leaving the surface as smooth as the factory intended. Using a lubricant of some sort is very important to avoid having the clay scratch the clear coat. The clay bar itself is like Play-Doh on steroids, and you'll need to work it a bit before it's ready to use. Knead it into a small disc that you'll have good hand control over. Also, if you have to put it down for any reason, put it back in the case or some other safe spot. If the clay hits the ground, you must throw it away. Since by design it picks up everything it touches, the ground or floor effectively turns the clay into sandpaper, and lube or not, it'll end up scratching the heck out of your clear coat. This clay kit includes some quick detailer spray for lube, but in a pinch you can use some good old-fashioned soapy water too. Work on a medium-sized section at a time, panel by panel, using a linear back and forth motion. Also, fold the clay over often to expose a clean surface to make sure you're not grinding the contaminants you've removed back into the paint. The great thing about the clay bar is how flexible it is. It'll allow you to get in all the nooks and crannies, even around your emblems. Once you've finished an area and it feels nice and smooth, buff off any remaining detailer spray with a clean microfiber towel. Okay, if your arms don't feel like they're going to fall off yet because of all that claying, that's great, because we're not quite done yet. Now that all the crud's been removed, all those small divots in the clear coat need to be filled in and protected. Depending on how old your paint is and what kind of shape it's in, you can optionally follow a clay bar treatment with polishing or swirl removal. This will give you the ultimate shine, but since Miss Vicky's paint isn't so bad, and this video covers a minor paint correction, I'm moving on straight to waxing. There are lots of brands and types of waxes available on the market, but my go-to has always been a paste wax. I've found that it's given the best result, and it even hides minor swirl marks if you've got them. Waxing a car is easy. Just remember how Mr. Miyagi taught Daniel.
Wax on, wax off. Don't forget to breathe. Very important.
After you've added some product to the applicator and blotted the surface, Apply the wax using a small circular motion with about a 50% overlap. Like the clay bar, work your vehicle in sections, panel by panel. Once the wax passes the swipe test, buff the car off with a clean microfiber towel. Since this is the first wax of the season, Miss Vicky is going to be treated to 2 coats. A swipe test is a way to check if the wax you painstakingly applied is ready to buff off. If you try to take it off too soon, it's just going to make a streaky mess, but if you wait too long, the wax could harden and it might scratch as it comes off. If you can swipe the freshly dried wax and it removes cleanly with no streaks, it's ready to come off. So after a few hours of hard work and some goodies from the auto parts store, I'd like to say that I've ended up with a semi-pro finish that's as smooth as glass. White isn't really an easy color to get very reflective, but I think these results speak for themselves. Like I said at the beginning of the video, a pro detailer is definitely an expert at this, and if your paint is in rough shape, that's probably the way to go. For the rest of us, I only like to clay bar Miss Vicky once at the beginning of the season, and sometimes once at the end. Clay barring and polishing are corrective processes and should be used sparingly compared to a good wash and wax, which is just good paint maintenance. I hope this video can help you get the best look out of your vehicle this summer, and if it has, drop a like, and while you're here, subscribe with notifications so you'll always be up to date on my new content. I'm Rick the Welder, and as always, thank you all very much for watching.